Another day in paradise, and here we are at Heraklion. You can say Heraklion, but this is what they say, and the port has free Wi-Fi. The first attempts to make this a port were in the 9th century with the Arabs. Now it's a container dock, so you're not allowed to walk inside the dock. You have to get a shuttle bus to the edge of the port. Then you can either follow the yellow line into town, you can follow the coastal road all along to the stadium and see the beaches, or you can get a public bus and go to the Palace of Knossos. We're going to show you all three. It's cheap and it's easy.
Strangely, one of the main tours offered in Heraklion is one to Santorini. Well, here's the connection. The lost city of Atlantis. Is Knossos the lost city? Don't think so. You'll find out.
The Venetian castle overlooks the bay, and it has on it the symbol of the Venetian lion, which is now the symbol of the Venice Film Festival. So we've walked along from the ship and we found the castle, and we've walked along a bit further. See, that's the thing about Crete, you're never far from a ruin. Even in the capital, Heraklion, which is modern and thriving, there are still ruins all over the place. That is a church which is being renovated, and across the road from it is the Historical Museum of Crete, which was founded in 1953 and records the history of Crete from early Christian times.
Of course, Knossos is the Museum of Heraklion, and we will get there in just a moment by bus.
Further along the bay, and another stop on the hop-on, hop-off bus, is the Natural History Museum, and the bus then turns up into the town. So the Natural History Museum has more exhibits coming. It's $7.50 per person to come in. If you pass the Natural History Museum on your right and then you pass the big shopping mall on your left and keep going, it's a lovely coastal walk.
But if you're not interested in the beach or a coastal walk, this is not the route you'll be taking.
Eventually you'll find the beaches down by the stadium. Just a tip, if you're a bit unsteady on your feet, the ground is uneven, so be aware of that.
Some companies run a shuttle bus right into town. If you're lucky enough, it will stop here.
If you look for the statue of Aetherios Venizelos, it's right beside the shuttle bus, and the ship is just behind you. And the shuttle bus dropped us off at Eleftherios Square, and the shuttle bus is just over there. When you're dropped off in this cosmopolitan city, don't panic, because over there is the city bus tours, and you can hop on, hop off and go where you want to. And also, if you go to my right, facing the sea, the left, you can get a bus to Knossos for €2.50. Knossos is the largest palace in Crete. It was built about 1900 BC, but destroyed by 1700 BC, and then began a long period of restoration called the Second Palace period. By 1380 BC, it had lost most of its glory. This is where the long corridor of procession started through a double door and is known as the West Porch.
Plato wrote about an advanced civilization called Atlantis, which was destroyed when the Santorini volcano erupted.
This is the South Propylaeum, and it's due to the restoration of Arthur Evans, who put the frescoes up on the wall there.
Santorini and Heraklion were twinned, big trading islands of a bygone era. But Heraklion had the deep port, so items were ferried to Heraklion to be shipped all around the globe, or certainly to their close trading partners. When the volcano went off in Santorini, the port, Heraklion, well, Atlantis was destroyed. And it could be under the sea, or it could be under the silt. Who knows?
You are going to have to negotiate some steps, even though it's bordered and there are walkways. Sometimes there's no choice. The central court, common to all Minoan palaces, has all the wings situated around it.
The Palace of Knossos is considered Europe's oldest city and is referred to as the centre of the Minoan civilization, but it's not considered to be Atlantis. It is the palace of King Minos, and it was the island's capital under the Minoans. But the volcano of Santorini absolutely covered it. So these are the ruins of a later palace that was built after that volcano eruption. So where is Atlantis? Where did the volcano put Atlantis? Let's ask somebody who was around in 1700 BC. Oh no, Jean wasn't.
When you walk around and read the explanations and listen to the guide, they're very careful to say that Arthur Evans placed this here rather than it was originally here. He called this the theatre area because it reminded him of a theatre, not because it actually was a theatre. You can see why he thought it looked like an amphitheatre. Well, the Palace of Knossos might be the biggest palace in Crete, but it's not exactly Jerash. It'll cost you 15 euros to get in. 25 minutes in the bus to Knossos, an hour to walk around. Don't ignore the cafe on the way out. It really is a treat. 25 minutes back gives us plenty of time to have a wander around the town. Let's go and have a look.
You may be dropped in this square, but you can get a bus or walk. The hop-on, hop-off bus, it's not a big tour, and Jean showed you most of the stops.
The problem with the hop-on, hop-off bus is they're not very frequent. It's every 40 minutes. The actual whole tour is only an hour, but if you get off, you've got to wait another 40 minutes for the bus. So you might want to walk to the Morosini Fountain, which is, if you come up to the avenue, you will see an alleyway which isn't visible from by the sea, but is quite clear when you get here. A great place to sit and drink coffee is by the Morosini Fountain. It was founded in 1629 in the Venetian period, and this little square is full of cafes. Right opposite the fountain is the Municipal Gallery. The city is full of cafes, alfresco dining, parks and shaded places to people watch, or if you love shopping, there are plenty of shops. City Hall sits in the middle of the shops. We asked an employee here how old it was. She said, no idea, but it is very old, and we could Google it. I think this is a party town. So, the $10 million question. Do you have a balcony or do you not? Today, it's really worth it. It feels like we're sailing back in time, a little bit of history. We come down to the beach today. If you turn left at the Marina Park where we got off and just stroll along, the beaches get better and better the further you go.
As a cruiser, you'll get to Athens over and over again, and each time you do, you'll find something new.
As we walked away from the main taxi rank, we got offered a taxi for €10 to the Acropolis, which is really cheap. So this is wonderfully near Montserrat Station, which is just behind the museum you can see in front of us. The flea market is to the left. Plaka Square is behind the museum. Views of the Acropolis are on the hill.
Acropoli e Templo Partenone.
Is that the temple of Herodotus Atticus? We're heading back to Syntagma Square. The square is opposite, Parliament is behind you, and everything is signposted. Outside the Parliament buildings, we're so lucky to see the changing of the guard, and they must be so hot. They've got thick white tights on. So this is the top of Areopagus Hill. It's very slippy to climb, and there's no easy access. If you want to take a picture of the Acropolis, the best place to take it is from the top of this hill, because when you're up there, it'll be very hard to get the whole thing in the frame. Another lovely sunny day, and we're off to find the bus for Hania.
The locally organised bus is at the port. The other options are a taxi or the hop-on, hop-off bus if there's one there.
€3.40 return to Hania.
Hania is a very relaxing port and one that's easy to walk around and explore yourself.
The bus from the cruise ship will drop you off just in this square opposite the statue and right across from the old market, which is the heart of the city. The original marketplace was completed in 1913, not that long ago. We're going to follow the sign towards the old town, which is over there. The Cathedral of Iconium was built on the site of an older temple of the Presentation of the Virgin Mary. When the Turks occupied Chania, it was converted into a soap factory, and now it's back to a cathedral again.
The different areas. Is the blue line around the old port. The mediums have 10 euro difference, but it's double.
The Venetian harbour is a brilliant place to just sit, have a coffee and people watch.